hearts, one road, walking side by side, highs and lows. Got nothing to hide, love's a journey. So we state the facts, making this eternity. Let's talk about love, good and tough. Through all the ups and downs, we're strong enough. The marriage is work, but it's worth the fight. Let's dive into my life, shining those lights.
People, what's good, family? What's good? What's good? Hey guys, listen, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning into this episode. This is our sixth episode. It feels like the 104313 amount because it's just a lot of work that goes behind the scene. Y'all wouldn't have a clue. I'm gonna start doing bloopers, but thank y'all for having to hang out with me and my wife Kathy Ann Green. We are delighted because we have some beautiful guests tonight that's going to bless our heart. And Kathy, you want to introduce them?
No. Sorry. So I'm super excited, guys. And glad you guys accepted the call as well. So, folks, let's welcome Leslie and her husband, Antar, to the podcast. I'm excited. And we know we have a lot of exciting things to talk about because the devil did not want us to do this today.
No, we
Yes,
didn't.
All of the
it is.
difficulties we had to get this started. But, guys, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Before we begin, I just want to say I have the privilege of literally having a conversation with this beautiful young lady right here and her handsome husband because I have labored with her and I know her story is a story of God literally had to step in and make it happen before anything would happen. So I want to just say welcome, guys. I love y'all. I love y'all. Say hello to our fans out there.
Hello, fans. We are so honored that you would choose us to be a part of this amazing platform. So thank you for having us.
We are absolutely grateful. So little short story of how me and Miss Muhammad met. We met
He
in
gave me the
20.
title, too.
You gave me
we
my
met,
full name, my government.
we met in 2016, and I swear this young lady really inspired me in so many ways. And I'm talking about just a little genius with nothing but jokes on top of jokes. I mean, a heart of gold. I adopted her as my spiritual daughter because she is just that beautiful of a soul. And I kept praying for a man named Antar to come. I called and I said, Jesus, I don't know if it's Farjar or Antar. Please send him to that baby daughter of mine.
Now, are you
And then
praying
here we
for
are.
me? Are you praying for me now? What? That's Reverend.
Oh, y'all don't know. Y'all in for a beautiful night. Y'all don't know. My brother is he's actually Pastor Antar Muhammad, beautiful brother in the Lord, and I truly am grateful for him being in my baby girl's life and doing everything I asked God to be a part of her life. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you.
God bless.
So we got you guys here tonight to talk about love and marriage. And I say love and marriage because most people get married because they're in love or they love the person that they married. So love and marriage. And then when they get married, they feel like sometimes I wish I never was in love, so I would have never married you. And but love and marriage goes hand to hand when it's done in the appropriate way of godliness. How did you guys meet?
You want to tell it?
No, you tell it better than I can.
So we saw each other in New York City for the first time. I was there at a book signing. That's the first time I saw him. And, at this particular time, I was just like really focused on what I was doing. And Antar was giving me those like, girl, you look good eyes. And I was like, sir, I mean, carry on. So that's the first time I saw him. And then months later, I see him in Dallas when I'm down there for an event. And he remembered me. And I remembered him, but I was trying to play it cool like I didn't.
Exactly.
And he was like, you remember me from, where we saw each other in New York. And I was like, yeah, I remember you, whatever. So we stand and just chit chatted for a little bit. And then he was like, he looked like he wanted to ask me for my number, but then I was like, here's my social media. Like I kind of laid the groundwork. Like,
Right.
and so we ended up talking back and forth on social media. And then of course, eventually I gave him my number. And then when I gave him my number, what really just drew me to him is we had amazing conversation. Like we would talk, it's like that 8th grade on the phone all the time, talking about anything. Like we would have conversations about donuts or purpose or like all
Not
over
the donuts.
donuts. And I just realized like, wow, this is, and you've known me for a long time, Eric, you know that I love a good discussion. And so the fact that we tapped into that so quickly is just what drew me to him. So yeah, it was I feel like him and I were destined to be together because those chance meetings were like crazy. So
Okay, dog.
She was smitten.
He was smitten, girl.
Not smitten, not Old Testament smitten, bro.
Bruh. Smitten.
There's no recovery from that. You know that, right?
clearly.
That's what you call that anointing hit.
Oh no, don't even get me started. No.
Smitten from what I'm spitting.
No, please cut that out, Yana.
Yeah. So Pastor, when you met her, how did everything unfold when you first met her, man?
I mean, it actually pretty much was like that. You know, we didn't encounter each other in New York. It was, you know, we saw each other, and I always had this thing. I'm terrible with names, but I'm great with faces.
Mm-hmm.
And I the next time I saw her, I'm like, I know her. I just can't remember where, because you know, I've been to so many events, you know, through the course of my life and my career. I'm like, I'm just trying to remember exactly where.
You remember my face.
To be being honest, it ain't your face. I remember.
Don't do that.
It wasn't your face.
Like my brother Boone, Ryan said, boom shakalaka.
God has favored my woman. So,
Oh, Lord.
you know, we began talking, and the crazy part about it is we talked the first time for like an hour straight, and it was supposed to be like a brief call, and we hung up that after that hour, and then it was just, you know, repetitive, and it just was like, you know, I don't want it to be more than it is, but it feels like more than it feels like. There's something different here.
Something else is hitting.
There's something else here.
Yeah.
And it's not it's not a physical thing as much as it is like there's something deeper. It's like hearts. Our hearts are talking while our mouths are moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree. Definitely that inward connection that the spirit is connecting with the spirit.
Yeah.
And is recognizing that is a good spirit.
Listen, you are too funny.
You know what I mean?
And it's hearts recognizing the missing part, like, oh, I needed somebody to say that to me. It's like my heart was talking to her heart, and it's just using my mouth as just, you know, visual pieces, but it's really hard having a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's where the quality of love comes in, when you get that authentic yet substantial conversation from someone that means something to you, and you know, because it connects, right?
Yeah.
And you can't avoid that. I mean, you can run from it if you want to, and especially if you come from past hurts, you know, you tend to like want to avoid it. But when that thing is genuine,
Yeah.
you can run and duck all you want to.
There's no escaping it.
So Leslie, okay, you know, it's true. I've always been, you know, that prayer partner with you concerning relationships, right, in life, and how much we both wanted the best for you. What made you thought to yourself that this was that man that we prayed for?
Here's the thing. Like, one of the things, because you know me, like, I sometimes am allergic to figuring it out. But one of the things that I really loved about him is that he saw me for me, and he saw me beyond what I was presenting. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think in the past,
Yes.
many people or the situations that I had might have been based off of how I presented.
Mhm.
And for him, he wanted to know me deeper, like he said, heart level. And
Mhm.
it's funny though, because you'll say as a woman, like, this is something that I crave, that I desire, I'm praying for it. And then when you get it, it scares you so deeply. It
Yeah. Yeah.
scared
Okay.
me that I could
Okay.
tell before he actually said, I love you genuinely for who you are, that I could feel that. Because
Mm.
sometimes we're waiting for the words and we're not looking for the actions. And
Right.
he was a person that presented actions very early on. So, like, by the time he said, I love you, it was almost like it was already confirmed. And so I never
Mm.
had that before. And I paid
Yeah.
attention to that. Like, Antar is a person that is very much so focused on details, and the way that he loves me in the details and not in the grand gestures that I thought love was compiled
Hmm.
of
Right. Right.
was
Yeah.
was just it was just magnetic for me. And so, the interesting part too is it was so much between the two of us that he was even like, all right, listen, this is a lot. This is moving kind of fast. I don't know what's happening. I'm not really trying to get married. You look like you want to get married. And I'm like, you look like you want to get married. But it was almost a colliding of two people that are supposed to be together. And what I
Mm.
also realized about him, you know, outside of love, because love is amazing, right? Until you encounter an obstacle. Outside
Right.
of love, what I realized more deep than anything was that I liked him. Like,
Hmm.
I liked him as a person, I liked him as a friend. I liked him as, a person that prayed for me. I could actually, and I have a problem with leading. You know this about me for a long
All
time.
too well, I know.
Just keeping it real. He was someone that I felt, in the early stages, like, wow, I can see myself trusting him,
Right.
trusting
Right.
his decision
Right.
making, his leading. And that did scare me, but it
Mhm.
also is something that you can't deny. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
one of the things I do say is, you have to prepare for what you pray for,
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
I remember the time where I actually went to my church parking lot in New Jersey, this, and I literally told God, do not send me anyone that's not of you. And boy, did he
Hmm.
send me someone of him, right? in, in a crazy way. I'm like,
Careful what you pray for.
he's speaking in tongues, he praying, he laying hands. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. But it's just interesting how, you just can't help, who you're drawn to, and the authentic nature of two
Yeah.
people that truly
Yeah.
love each other. You can't help that.
Absolutely. And when a man leads with his spirituality first,
Yes.
it makes a woman drops every guard that she has up, right?
Hmm.
But a woman comes in with discernment. She's looking for that.
Yeah.
All right. And when she spots it, it's easier for her to yield herself because most, women are strong. It is what it is. Young, and especially black women, they're built strong to hold their own. But when a man comes in with spirituality first,
Yeah.
that woman supersedes. I mean, she digresses from her authority figure just to feel that man out first because y'all block us quickly. So, Ant, quick question for you, brother. How did you know that this was that one?
uh, well, honestly, I'm gonna find a great joke to tell, but I'm not. Um, I honestly realized I could trust her,
Mm,
and I felt safe with her. And I've said it in several messages before, and there's one on TikTok. But when a man says that he trusts you, it's less about physical, you going out and cheating. It's more about, can I trust you with me?
Mhm.
And
Yes, sir.
I felt like I could trust her with me. I could say some really deep things, and I didn't feel like they were coming back with judgment or criticism. It was
Mhm.
just a safe harbor.
Right.
And it's like a boat that's been just sailing around the ocean for months and months and night after night looking for a safe harbor, and I finally found somewhere safe to land.
Mhm.
And it was a peace that I had never had before, and it was an enjoyment of somebody in my life who I was excited to hear their name
Mm.
being brought up. I looked forward to her coming and seeing me, and me seeing her, and I felt okay with expressing every part of me to her.
Mhm.
I feel
Mhm.
like it's going to be any moment of criticism. And I always say this, that if you have to hide any part of you from your significant other, that's not the person.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Because
sir.
Like that.
if you
Mhm.
gotta hide it, then that means that they're not safe enough to accept it. Now, it could be completely off the wall, freaky, crazy, whatever.
What?
I'm not saying that they have to participate or they have to join in or they have to condone it, but they got to at least make you feel safe enough to
Yes, sir. Yes,
If
sir.
you don't feel safe enough to express it, then I always have to hide a part of me
Hmm.
from you. Then how can I love you freely if I'm hiding some of me? And
I
Absolutely.
like that.
I've never felt like that. I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
felt
Oh,
That's gonna free somebody's soul tonight, boy. You listen to me. I'm
Hey.
going in the room right now to tell us I'm about to show Kathy what's been on my mind.
yeah. Look, and she may be like, nah, bro, I ain't into that. But you don't feel like, okay, well, she doesn't understand me, because we've had some tough conversations. And it's not like, okay, I want to know so I know how to judge it. No, I want to know so I know how to understand you better.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
yeah.
help me to
Mhm.
drill down. Why don't you like that?
Right.
Why is that like that?
Right.
This is not for me to question you. This is for you to question you. Why do you like that?
Right.
Why
Right.
do you respond that way?
Yeah.
So that you can further evaluate yourself,
Yeah.
so that you can grow, because it may be some things that you do or don't do based off of how you were raised, not based
Yeah.
off of how that things are right. It's just
Right.
how you were raised.
Right.
That's how we were taught. But yeah, that just because you were taught that doesn't mean it was right.
Right.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
So
Well, you sound like you
that's
with
it.
that.
Sorry for a long explanation, but that's it.
I used to say that's my culture.
Yeah,
I
that's
used to say,
Yeah,
what does God know about culture?
Really?
yeah. And
yeah.
it's easy. It's easy to hide. You can hide behind that shield, and then how can I fight that? Because to say
Yeah.
that's hundreds and hundreds of years of built-in culture.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you're like, well, can't you break it? I mean, is there a law? Are you gonna get arrested for it? There's a famous line in the movie that I love, Coming to America. I watch it all the time.
Oh, all the time.
King Jofi Jaffer says, his wife, him and her are going back and forth, and a king, the prince, he comes to America. If you don't know the movie, I don't know why you don't know the movie, but just
I know.
I am judging. But he says that he wants to marry this girl that's not somebody that they didn't pick, and he says, well, King Jofi Jaffer says, well, who am I to change this tradition? And his wife asks, well, I thought you were the king. And it was a drop the mic moment. And for everybody who feels like, well, I'm in charge of my life, well, can't the curse stop with you? I thought
Yeah.
you were the king.
Absolutely.
I thought you were the queen. I thought you had some sort of charge in your life. I thought you were an adult who can actually talk about these problems. We made a commitment. We may
Right.
be mad, but we're going to talk about it. We ain't going to go to bed and not talk about it. Even
Right.
if we sleep in another room that night, the next day it's gonna be successful. We ain't going
Yes,
down
sir.
for weeks. We're not gonna walk around being mad at each other, and I don't know what you mad at, and you acting silent. Because a lot of people do that, and it ends up killing a relationship. And
Yep.
pretty soon, after sweeping all that stuff under the rug, you realize why you cannot walk on that rug because there's so much stuff underneath it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that goes into the next question that I have. Obviously, in marriage, there are good times, there are not so good times as well. What has been one of your biggest challenges you face as a couple, and how did you overcome it?
And you don't have to be
Don't go
completely
into.
transparent
Oh,
about
right.
it.
Well,
I've been
leave that under that rug. We just talked about that
Yeah,
rug.
just keep in mind this is going on YouTube and social
Yeah,
media.
no,
So
it's fine. So we've talked about it in other settings. Our biggest challenge that we had is when we made the decision to move to North Carolina.
Mhm.
North Carolina was so it was interesting because it was such a test for me, right? More so than it was for him. Because initially I'm like, we're doing this for him, but it ended up being a test for me.
Okay.
So he had a desire and a call towards North Carolina. And, I wanted to support him, right? I have always been pegged as rebellious or do the opposite. And it was something about this decision and what he felt so deeply about that I wanted to support him on. And when we got to North Carolina, I mean, I much respect to people who live in North Carolina. I'm not in any way, shape, or form. Please don't take this offensively. I
Right.
hate living there. I hate it. That's just the honest truth. There wasn't a restaurant near us that we could go to. I love food. Eric, you know this about me. I eat 4 or 5 times a day at work, snacking. I still do it. I felt like I was just detached away from the larger world. I'm used to living like towards a bigger metropolitan than where we
Mhm.
were. So I struggled with that. And I
Mhm.
struggled with the fact like, man, we only here because of you. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. And so that part of our life taught me 2 things, right? It taught me something that I never thought I'd be able to accomplish, which is to support someone beyond what my own desires and wants are. And that's what
Ah,
marriage is.
ah,
Um,
yes, yes,
and it was a
yes.
rough time, but it was a realization like you love this man this much that you're essentially going outside of who you are, quote unquote, that I
Mhm.
was sort of wearing as a badge of honor. And this decision made me realize like, this is what marriage is.
Yeah.
This is what these vows are about. This is what this commitment is about. And it really, it was some tough times, right?
Mhm.
But we learned how to communicate with each other because out there it was just me and him. Like we didn't have each other's families,
Right.
have friends. We didn't have all of what I would call distractions that some married people don't even label as distractions when it comes to
Mhm. Right.
yeah.
Right.
with each other. And I think it's great to live near your family and friends and people you love, but oftentimes if you really strip them away, you start to see who you really are as a couple
For
without.
sure.
And we learned that. And so it was difficult because it's not something that we planned on, right? It didn't go quite the way that we anticipated, but it really taught me a lot about myself. It taught me about the things that I was still, because a lot of women sometimes don't realize you can still be very much so have a mindset of singleness in marriage. And
Oh, yes.
I started to
Yes.
realize that I wore some aspects of my singleness as a badge of honor, right?
Mhm.
So now you have this situation that requires you to take it off, and it's almost like I'm taking off a piece of who I am. This is what I've worked on, and now I got to
Right.
strip it off and live in North Carolina. What? So it was that was a challenging time for us. I'm sure he would agree on that on that aspect. And it was very early on, right? And it was
Right.
like,
Right.
I ain't signed up for this. But it was a test that him and I needed to really define who we were as a couple, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Good.
And to teach us how to I think it's very hard to trust someone when they quote unquote in your mind have made a decision that impacts you negatively, right? So I had to
Right.
learn how to walk with him even though I didn't agree with him. I had to learn how
Gotcha.
to walk with him without disrespecting him.
Mhm.
And I had to learn how to support him without tearing him down. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
Yes. 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 Absolutely.
so yeah, I'll say that.
Well, I love that place. Honestly, y'all been there. I loved it. I love North Carolina. But it was one of those funny things, and now we look at it and it feel like it was ages ago.
Yes.
But God sent us there right after we recently got married. There was an opportunity that came available that didn't go as we thought it would.
Nope.
And so what it really turned out to be was really one of those times where God stripped everything away and said, I want you to bond over this, right? And to build on this, because what I'm about to do, you this is going to solidify you the more. So he
Mm.
took us
Mhm.
away from all the
Yeah.
friends. We were calling people. We couldn't have people before we left for North Carolina. Right after we got married, we had our place. We had people coming over almost every day. We have friends literally almost every day. We got friends right now. She got a group of friends. I got a group of friends. We can call them up right now and at least
Mhm.
get 3 or 4 people and have a late dinner at any moment. He
Yeah.
stripped it
Mhm.
all away, and he said, North Carolina is going to be about you resetting and you building the bond that you have, and solidifying that thing, because he wanted us to realize that this marriage was about us becoming one. We're not two people,
Right.
we're one
Yeah.
unit. And many people get married and you think it's my husband and I. No, y'all are one. Because if you don't look at it like it's us against the world, one unit, then you're in the wrong marriage, because
Mhm.
it's not her or me, it's us. Us.
Mhm. Right. Right.
Us. And so God put us together.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one thing again, it was hard conversations, but it's necessary conversations. And it's one of those
Mhm.
times where God reminds you that I am on your side. I'm never going to let you sink. You may feel like you're going down a little bit, Peter, but you're never going to completely,
Absolutely.
because I'm building something in you. I'm building that endurance in you to
Yes.
show you how faithful I am to you. If you are willing to be faithful to me, I'm going to
Yes.
be more
Yes.
faithful to you. And God has
Yeah.
built us. And now, man, I don't want to go this direction yet, but now there are so many doors opening up for us that
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
North
Yeah.
Carolina we prayed for these doors, but
Yes. Yeah.
now
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
when
Praise
when
God.
I when I finally, I will say this part, that I as a man, you find that you don't want to be wrong. So when I finally came to the realization, okay, Lord, yeah, drink your tea.
Mhm.
Okay, Lord,
It's
this
her
is
facial expression.
okay, Lord. All right, I see what you did. Now I'm willing to go back home to Texas. Like, doors are opening. I mean,
Mhm.
crazy doors.
Yeah.
It's almost every other day we're getting an update
Uh-huh.
for her contracts, for me, new connects and new engagement. It's just all this crazy
Mhm.
stuff. But
Yeah.
God has to make sure that you are willing to be obedient in the suffering.
Yes,
If you
sir.
can't be obedient in the suffering, then once you get up
Yeah.
high, then it ain't gonna mean as much. So
Right.
now you can't come in between us. You can't say
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That's
That's
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, he about
So
to
so
and the thing
so
about
that
it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no that tie into the next question I had, right? So uh, this question first is for Leslie, and answer, well, you can do it, you can answer
Okay.
after. Um, I know your life is completely busy, right? Talk to us a little bit about your work experience. What do you do? And then how do you manage work-life balance? How do you manage spending time being a mother, being a wife, and then you have your career as well? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so it's a combination of a lot of things, right?
Some work-life
I
balance just walked in the room.
Yeah, Tristan just walked in the room.
He called it work-life balance.
He heard his name. He heard his
He just came running in here.
Work-life balance.
So when I was working 9 to 5, I thought I had like stresses, right? Or things. It was hard. Work-life balance was hard there. But now I own my own firm. I own a healthcare consulting firm, so I am an entrepreneur. And remember we used to talk about this.
Yes, baby girl.
It's interesting because I never understood how important the word balance was until I became an entrepreneur. And so one of the things that I do that I'm very realistic about is that nothing is going to be 100% all the time, right? And so I've learned to focus on the percentage that I can give to each one and being 100% in that, right? So Antar has been really supportive of this endeavor. Like I remember when I told him like I'm quitting my job and I'm starting this firm. He didn't even hesitate. He was like, go for it. Like I thought he was going to walk me through a series of questions. He was like, do it. And so that was the first thing that I think helped me to establish the balance, that I had a partner who was willing to support my dream. And I think a lot of people, even though he said it that quickly in the moment, there was evidence of him and his support in the dating period that would allow me to make that decision. And I think balance stems from the relationship that you have with each other, right? He like steps in if I have like an important meeting, a contract that I'm trying to execute, or I have to have a staff meeting, or I've got an employee who's in California that needs to talk to me at 2 a.m. He steps in, he helps out, he cooks, he'll take Tristan to school, and we switch vice versa. Like, you making that face, I help. But I like the fact that he allows me to balance it by being a partner, right? Like this is where we talk about the percentage stuff. You know how people talk about 80-20, 50-50. The percentage part to me applies, right? Because there are times where I can only give 30 over here. And he's like, don't worry about it. I got you. And there's other times where he's traveling and I have to give 60 or 75 or 80. So I think balance has come from the foundation in which we've built. We've, like you said, we've gone through enough. I think everybody starts in wet cement. But now that our foundation has hardened, we know who we are as a couple. And so that allows me to be a woman that is a mother, that is, a business owner, that is a wife, but also he's giving me wings to fly, which is one of the most amazing aspects of our relationship. Because that's always been my thing. Like, I don't want anybody trying to take me from my dreams. I don't want anybody trying to
Right.
And so he taught me a lot about, and this happened in dating. This didn't happen when we were married. This wasn't just something he said. This was actions that he showed me. Like, I want you to fulfill all of your dreams. I want to be there to support you. I want to be your partner in life. And I think within that safe bubble, you can create balance so much better. There are times where I drop the ball, of course. There are times where I do drop the ball. My kid is looking at me like, why I always got to be the last one to get picked up? Why you always late? And we talk about it. I'm sometimes in the car like, I'm sorry, Tristan. Okay, it won't happen again, because he holds me accountable now too. He's 8, and so I think it's about, when it comes to balance, I think there's no perfect algorithm, but I do believe in giving each percentage that I'm standing 100%, or to the best of my ability, as possible. Because because of who I am and what I'm pursuing and where I am in life, I really can't give a lot of things 100%. I can't. And this is
Right.
I say now to a lot of people, like some people think I'm being selfish, and they just don't understand that I have a calling and a purpose that's so much bigger than what
Right. Exactly. Yes.
I
Yes. Yes.
value that he appreciates that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
In the first part of the marriage, when you guys went into North Carolina, God had to really do some deep cultivating
yeah,
before he released you into the promise that he has for you. Because see, y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even have a clue how
mm-mm,
far he's going to take y'all. And y'all have to be in that position or positioned to handle that much that's coming your way.
yeah,
Hallelujah.
You know
yeah,
what I mean? That's coming your way. I know it's coming your way. And you know I know it's coming your way, right? But he wants to make sure that even though you are, in the process of becoming a good steward over the small things,
yeah,
the eyes have not seen, the ears have not heard, not even has it entered into the both of you intelligent individuals' mind what God is getting ready to take y'all.
yeah.
And I just want to be able to say, hey, I drive car. You want me to be a chauffeur?
He's so
Don't y'all
funny.
forget me now. Yeah. All right, but okay, Aunt, what do you say to that work-life balance? Because I know you still preaching and you still in corporate America now, right? Back out in corporate. So how do you balance all this too?
So, one of my mentors said a long time ago, and I even wrote it in my book, shameless plug, that I published in 2018, Hardcore, is that it, there's no perfect balance, as my wife said. There's no perfect algorithm. It's really what works for your life, what works for your house.
Mhm.
And so, but one of the things that I've always learned is today I may be a great husband, not so great of a father, but and did great in business. And tomorrow I'm a great father, didn't do a lot in business, a okay husband, and vice versa. And so you just make sure that that one particular area doesn't suffer every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
Mhm.
you
That's
cannot
good.
be
That's good.
all people, but whenever that area becomes you begin to see a deficit in it, that's when there's a problem.
Yeah.
Right. And so one thing about us is that here's what's so crazy. So, my wife is really going far, she's going high. And so yeah, there will be a lot of moments, there'll be quite a few moments where I pick Tristan up and I'll be in the kitchen cooking. But you know what it did? It gave me a love for getting in the kitchen more. So I love it.
Mm.
So now I actually kind of I would just get in there unbeknownst to her. She'd be like, "Oh, well, what are we gonna do?" I'm like, "I already got dinner prepared. I'm already on the grill." Because
Yes,
now
sir.
it's giving me another love, so much so that it's about to become in the next few months another income stream for us. Because I just like cooking, and
Yes.
so I'm in there, I'm testing stuff out, I'm trying stuff,
Okay.
even though the kid is like, "What is this? I don't like this," but
Tristan.
I'm like, "All right, so we'll try again next week. We'll try a new formula next week." But it's giving me another love, and it's funny how God works. Like I went from being, on the road so much and traveling and literally coming home, leaving my suitcase in the truck in my vehicle because I'm leaving the next day,
Yeah.
to where now it became very rare. I had to remember where my suitcases was because I wasn't traveling,
Mm.
right. So and then it flipped because now she was traveling all the time. So
Uh,
flipped it, but in the same time he flipped it, he also put something else in me so that now, okay, so I'm gonna give you another love that was down inside of you. You didn't even know
uh,
existed,
uh,
but then I bless you through it. So if you just be willing and obedient, as the Bible says, so shall ye eat of the fat of the land. All you got to do is be willing. God already got the strategy in place.
yes, sir.
You just got to break down and realize, man, God is a lot smarter than I am, and just
Mhm.
take these key indicators. Like, okay, so now I'm in the kitchen more. People are loving it. Every time I cook for somebody, they like, you need to do
Nice.
something with it. Hey, Ask your kids. The kids love it.
Dr.
The kids love
Shout
it.
out to Dr. Alicia.
They talked about it.
Any of you see
Yeah,
Simone, little barbecue sauce shooting,
The
she was eating that
cranberry.
up. Yeah.
yeah.
They didn't know they didn't know they were I was using them as a tester.
That's the test done.
But you know, that work-life balance, there'll never be the perfect formula. It's just about what works for you.
Mhm.
Right. Absolutely. You next.
Yeah, I think
Okay, yeah. So anyhow, let's talk love languages, people. So we all got, our own little love languages and what we desire and want out of, our relationship. And like I always say, if Kathy tells me something is bothering her or she's not getting this, it is now my responsibility to work on those things. It's time to put effort into the stuff that she wants or is missing. That's her love language, right? I'm not talking about like cleaning the dishes and nothing. That's your own
clean the
language there.
kitchen.
But but what are some of you guys' love languages, and how do you deal with those?
Go first.
So mine would be touch and I would say words of affirmation.
Definitely.
I just want to, I want to know that I'm meeting the mark. I'm hitting the mark. I want to know, I want to know that I'm pleasing my wife and that you're happy. And touch. Here's the crazy part. Let me tell you, all my brothers out there.
Oh goodness,
The
he didn't
older
ask
you
for that.
get, well, you're getting it. This is PS. You're getting it. That the older you get, the more that you enjoy that to be touched by your lady, to be cuddled, to be nestled. You didn't really think you needed that as a youth, as a young man.
Oh.
No, you need that. And so we just learn to talk about it and give each other what the other one needs.
Sorry, Eric went to change something. Can you
Oh,
guys hear
okay.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Eric
We
went
can
to
hear
change
you.
something.
Okay.
So his phone, I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah. 'Cause I need
So let's talk about finance.
that way. Oh,
Um,
the subject.
yeah, Leslie taking subject. And whatever you did, I lost them. They're on. Leslie, can you guys still hear me? See me?
I can still hear you. Yeah, and I can see you.
Okay. So let's talk about finance. A lot of times, and Eric and I talked about this a lot. Like we, put our money together. Um, Eric he pays the bills. I don't want to have to deal with that. But we put our money together, and he pays the bills with our salary, and then say, okay, here's what we have left to put in savings, to go spending, to do whatever we need to do. Talk to us about how do you guys manage your finance, and are there any concerns with the way you do, right? Or you I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah. No, it was funny because I like talking about this subject because it does vary by couple, right? I think one of the things that we had to learn how to do very early on was to merge our differences, right? Instead of finding out what our similarities were, we talked about our differences quite a bit. Because for me, if I'm being transparent, one of the things that I have always been concerned about is, especially having gone through divorce, we both have gone through divorce before, is what I've built financially gonna crumble because of something that could happen in our marriage, right? So we had to have really deep conversations about those very intimate, because those things were internal. They were unique, specific to me. I didn't like the idea of merging at all initially, and I still have some, things with full on merch, but full on merch. But for me, because I am a person, and I think you have to be honest about this, right? I'm a person that values money, right? Not because of what it is, but what it can do for you. It can bring freedom, it can change your life, it can, there's a lot that money does. It's a tool for a lot of things. So I put a lot of value on it, right? And I work very, very hard, and he worked very, very hard. And so we talked a lot about, okay, what does that look like for you? What does protecting your assets look like? Because some people don't have these conversations. They don't. Like, what are you concerned with? Because for us, we have built things separate of each other, right? And so we had to learn how to manage integrating those things and what we're going to do about those things as far as assets go. And then we also had to learn how to talk to each other about spending because I'm the type of person, I want to do 5-star luxury all the way. If the money is there, let's do it. And Antar takes a different approach with some things, but then he has his things that he likes to spend on. And so one of the things that I always say about money, that money is a couple specific area, right? And if you can't have deep conversations about your views about money, not just about, do we get a joint checking account? that's to me, when I hear people talk about like all of these, relationship gurus that talk about joint checking accounts, I'm like, y'all ain't married. Get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. There's so many more layers to it, right? That we had to kind of pull back. For me, I'll be honest. For me, money was like a safety net for me. It also was a get out of jail free card, right? That's the way I looked at it. Like, I need to have a little stash to just dash off. That's the way my mom, she won't say it, but she's kind of like that. She's like, you always got a little stash on your own, you don't. And so I built up a lot of underlying actions surrounding it, right? That I had to unpack with him, because Antar is the type of person, like, he want to, I love you, I want to know everything, and not because I'm, I'm like, nah, you can't know everything, bro. Like,
well, let me say my part. I'm somebody to go to the court and file papers. Well, the reality is, it is very specific, right? I remember having people, admonish me and tell me, oh, couples got to do this, and y'all got to put all your money together, and they weren't even together a month and a half. And I'm like, what works for you works for you. We put monies together for bills and household things, but then she got her own money, and I see it every other day on the doorstep where it goes. So okay.
Get a peel box. No, he's not.
Here's what's so funny, that if I don't see it, her money on the doorstep, I see her money coming out of my account for DoorDash for something that's being ordered. I don't know how that works. Her money,
it's in the bowels, Antar. It's in the bowels.
I'm just funny. But so I don't ask her, what are you doing with your $20? What are you doing?
We don't do that.
I don't care. Long as the bills are paid, that's the only thing I've ever been concerned about. Long as we turn that light switch on and it works, I don't care about none of this. Do whatever, because if that makes you happy and it makes sense, I don't care. You gotta give each other room to be you. I cannot control her personality. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, you only got this amount to do this. Those bills tell you how much personality you can express this month. That's how I feel. Those bills will tell you.
You got personality, Leslie.
You can express
the personality.
You got this much. That's the only personality you can express this much. I don't get in her way. You got to give each other room to be individuals. You got to do, because her control rebellious. Me trying to control her is only going to make her even more rebellious. So, and I respect that. You got to your person, they were a human being before they met you. They were robots waiting for a command. They were a human being before they met you. If you don't respect that, then you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, both ends. Well said, man. You know, everybody's finances different. As long as we're not playing, or we're doing this, you pay the water bill, I pay the light bill, you pay the gas bill. No, we all pay the bill, but how we decide to do with the remaining money, right, is agreed upon us. But you can't tell me you're gonna let the light cut off because Jeanette didn't pay the light bill, and you ain't gonna pay it because that's her bill to pay. Come on now,
Exactly.
stop. That's some
Exactly.
foul,
Just check the personality, Leslie. Check the
Exactly.
personality.
That's really it.
Um,
That's it.
so we're about to close this out, but there's a question I want to ask you guys, because me and Kat, we got 18 years into it now, right? And it's been good, then it's been bad, then it's been really good, right? But in the midst of that being good and being really good came a point where we almost said, you know what, yo, I'm good, dog. You do you, I do you. You know, you take some kids and I'll take some kids, right? Right? What do you say to our fans or our audience? What do you say to them about getting in marriage and having to experience those roller coasters?
Mm.
Well, I say this. You got to be willing to listen before you speak.
Mhm.
And you got to be willing to process before you speak. Can't say everything that comes to your mind.
Mhm.
And this is one thing that I try to practice, especially when we first got together. If you listen only to respond, then you're always going to be in debate mode.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
But if you listen and try to dissect why they are saying that, why they are hurt, then it gives you an opportunity to ask yourself, could I be wrong in this situation?
Mhm. Yeah.
You got to be willing to do more listening than you are talking,
Yes, sir.
because talking is all out. There's nothing coming in. You
Mhm.
got to ask hard questions, and
Yeah.
you got to be willing to listen.
I like that.
And that's pretty much it. If you're not willing to listen to your partner, not listen to what they're saying, listen to what the heart is saying. Right?
Right. Yes,
Because
sir.
what she said a few times did not sound good. But what the heart was saying is
Yeah, boy. Yes, sir.
something
Yes,
different
indeed, there,
than what the
brother.
mouth. What the heart says is different than what the mouth expresses.
Yes, sir. And true that is.
You got to be willing to listen. That heart ain't gonna mislead you. That mouth will.
Now you talking.
Because the mouth is a cover, and is really a defense mechanism to protect the heart.
Mhm.
But you got to think about it like the heart is sending a signal that the mouth and the brain are like, no, we don't want to say that, because if we
Right.
say that, you're gonna get hurt again.
I'd rather
So let
say
me
this.
say what I want to say. And heart like, I ain't say that, dog. I said this. Mouth and heart, then the brain like, no, we're gonna say this because we finna win this argument. And heart is like, no, that's not what I meant. That makes sense.
Leslie, what about you?
You know, I agree with what he's saying. I do think it's
It's true.
important to listen. I also think that, you know, here's the thing. I have had enough experience in life, and so has he, to know that people put a lot more emphasis on the wedding than they do the marriage, right?
Mhm.
And for those of you that want to run to be with somebody, there's a journey involved with
Mhm.
marriage. I am not a fan of people, who talk about how perfect their relationship is and how wonderful their marriage is, and they seemingly never want to share the
Yeah.
ups and downs of the journey. The journey is marriage, and I would say to people that if you're not a person that is okay with journeying, then you shouldn't be married. That's
Agree.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
and
like that.
100.
I love to hear from couples like you all. You know, Eric, you've always kept it real with me about what marriage is. And I've always valued that perspective. I think learning how to inquire about what marriage is truly from trustworthy individuals helps you to be able to
Yeah.
identify
Yes.
untrustworthy people.
Yes. Mhm.
When it comes to the idea of marriage, I will say it over and over again, marriage is a journey and we're
Mm-hmm.
all on it, right? Even if you started yesterday, welcome to the beginning, right? And if
Yep.
in, you know, that if you've been in like how long you guys have been married, it's a journey. And so I think it's I think it's really important to prepare. No one wants to go through process anymore. Everybody
Yeah.
wants results. And
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
marriage for me, it's funny how marriage and the things that I've encountered in marriage with Antar has also been a lesson for me in entrepreneurship because that's journey, right? Some of the same
Yeah.
issues that I have with him is what I have with my partner with my business, right?
Right.
And I have learned to enjoy the process. The process is not
Yeah.
always great, but
Yes. That's good.
um, the journey is what I love. I enjoy our marriage, even though we've had some tough times early on. We've had some tough conversations, but we have had some really great moments. And learning how to anticipate that those things are going to happen, no matter what, you could try to avoid,
Right.
but they're going to happen. And appreciating process, because that's
Yeah.
what this thing is. That's what life is
Mhm.
until you don't have it anymore. And so I've shifted my perspective, right? That process and go and being in the process and being a part of the process is more important to me, right? Than the quote unquote results or
Yeah.
rewards that people are looking for. I'll use the word results because people
Uh-huh.
don't think the only way they think they're growing is if they have some form of a result. And so, yeah.
Listen, I can do this all night with y'all. I ain't even lying, bro. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I'm talking about the meat that's coming out this. And y'all are you guys are is a young marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Where y'all sound like y'all been doing this longer than me and Kathy. Like I want to tell y'all something greater. I want to be the voice of wisdom. But hey, I'm over here. Hey, Yana, send me a pencil, please. I need something with you know what I mean? But in all honesty, I'm so glad. And that's how I'm gonna say this from my heart. I really am gonna say this from my heart. I have 4 daughters, right? And I remember telling Leslie I wanted my daughters to meet her. Right? I told her that maybe back in 2018
Yeah.
because I was just so overwhelmed with this young woman that sounded like an entire lioness and had the body of humor to match the ambition and the oh my god I was just perplexed, like, is she old or is she young? What I'm confused. And I like, as I pray for my daughters that the right man would come into their lives, into their lives. That's how I see you when I see you in her life. And I've told her this, personally. I said, God sent you a man who is going to give you grace to
Yeah.
grow into the mature spiritual person you were supposed to be. In spite of that foolishness that you and I talk and act and fool or whatever, I saw the God in you at that 22, 23 year, yeah, I think it was 23 I met you. And
Hmm.
I always said to myself, I want my daughters to meet her because I want her to be an example of what young, strong women should look like. Brother, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I
Aw,
appreciate you. And
don't
I
make me
love you for
cry.
just being the man that she needs in her life. Okay, so anyhow, we're gonna come to a close. Man, I swear to God, we're gonna do a part two. We doing a part two,
Yes,
hot dang
we have
it.
to. We
We're
have
gonna do
to.
a part two. But we want to thank you guys so much. And but before we go, we like to say, you guys got the mic, say anything, any encouraging word that you want to say to our
Sure.
audience that will bless the souls of those that are looking to get married, those that have been married and want to remarry, and those that are married and struggling.
Yeah. Well, I would say I say this to young women who are looking to get married, right? And I use the word women. Let me not use any age difference here. Women who are looking to get married. What I have learned in my experience is that my sights were set on outcomes, right? You got to
Nice.
know who you are.
Yeah.
And within that, I didn't learn how to, some of the mistakes that I've made is it's almost like, fill in a person. Like you create the environment and you just build, like build a bear. I could build them. Um, and I think it's important for women to date themselves as much as they would like to date others, right?
Yeah.
When I say date yourself, meaning get to know who you are, get to know what you like, get to know what you're made of, get to know if your wants overshadow your why, right? Get to know if you're looking for more results than you are purpose. Um, and that helps you to really break down how you approach dating. And that's
You're right.
something that I would, if I had to give a piece of advice to myself, that's what I would say. To people who have been divorced, look, there's hope. Don't listen to these people out here that tell you you can't get married again. I am a living testament. Don't listen to people. There are plenty of success stories. I think divorce is what it is. I think if you wear it like a stripe, it'll always be a stripe, right?
Yes.
And
Agree.
so
Yes. Yes.
I think there is some things that you can teach people when it comes to divorce, right? Because I always say people who always have, they've been married forever and they never got a divorce. Don't take advice from them. They don't know nothing about divorce. Talk to somebody who has. And so I think it's all about perspective, right? I think that's important. And I think if you have a negative perspective on your divorce, I say that you need to shift that. And I think you need to look at why you have that perspective and stop wearing that around like a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
to
like it.
people who are going through troubles in marriage, join the rest of us. We all going through it. Like I think when we talk about we always want to isolate like bad things. It's a part of the process, right? It's a part of two human beings being together. I think people who are going through issues or struggles, get down to why. Figure
Yeah.
out why before you make a decision about divorce. Even if you think now, if you, I don't condone domestic violence or anything like that. So if you're in that situation, get out. But a lot of times people use the word divorce without thinking about why are we even here? What happened? Like, why are we even talking about this today? What do we
Right.
need to do? Again, I am a strong believer of nobody wants to go through process. Everybody wants quick, fast
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
efficiency.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
built our lives on efficiencies, quick responses, 60-second reels. I'm looking for a new church. I'm looking for a new, everything is new, fast, fast,
Yeah.
fast. And I think that's the biggest problem with marriages today, that we've applied that to marriage. And that's not marriage. Marriage is not new, fast, fast. Let's fix, it's not that. It's a
Right.
process.
Yeah.
So before you use the word divorce, think about why that's your go-to.
Yeah.
And think
Yeah.
about, what's the root cause? Could it be you? You might be
Right.
the problem. So
Right.
that's
I'll try not to.
trying to what?
No, uh, because of the way I was reared,
What?
because
Who
of the way
uses the
I
word
came
reared?
up in life.
Uh,
When you ask that question, the first thing that came to my mind is the scripture: "Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not to thine own understanding. In all of your ways, acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path." It may not
Come
be the
on,
path
preacher.
that you will take, but He shall direct your path. In all your ways, acknowledge Him. You can't get up in the morning thinking about other things
Yes,
and
sir.
being PS in God. PS. Oh, by the way, God,
No.
it's not how it works. If you don't acknowledge Him in all your ways, then it won't be very clear as to what you need to do. God will
Yes,
give you
sir.
clear signs and clear indicators of what you need to do next. But you got to be willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be willing to obey. You got to be willing to acknowledge.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, God will show you every step of the way.
Amen.
You got to
Amen.
do the work, but he's going to show you how to get through every season, everything you're going through in life. That's it.
I love it, man. I love it. What a way to finish that out, brother.
Yeah, you know, mic
Y'all
drop.
two are not like I said, y'all don't see where you're going.
No,
I
we
see
don't.
it.
Because I don't know what you're talking about.
I got my bags packed, y'all, and I ain't bringing Kathy. I'm going
Yes, you are. You are bringing her.
Please. Leslie,
Exactly.
not even the devil believed that.
Yeah, he walks without you.
All right, guys, we're gonna leave on out of this. And hey, guys, thank you all for watching and participating this evening with us. I hope you've been blessed by the words that have been shared, the conversation that have been, discussed. And we thank you. We actually thank you so much from the bottom of our heart for just giving us an opportunity to even come in your house and let God use us to encourage your marriage, your love, in your relationship. But we'd like to thank Pastor Antar and his beautiful wife, my spirited ducks, and Leslie Muhammad. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Greatly appreciate you guys, man. And I hope, like I said, this actually land on somebody's heart so it can change the way they see things and see it through the eyes of God. So I'm going to pray. God, I thank you for this. I thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity. Thank you for the platform that you're setting. This Godcast is going to be whatever you've called it to be. We just ask that for everyone that's been assigned to hear what is coming out of the mouth of the people that we bring before them, receive it in the name of Jesus. Amen.
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 Amen. We
Keep
appreciate
going,
you.
Thank you, guys. Love y'all.
Talk about love.
Let's talk about love, bring the good in time. Through all the ups and downs, we're strong enough. The marriage is worth, but it's worth the fight. Let's dive into our life, shining love's lights. Two hearts, one road, walking side by side, highs and lows. Got nothing to hide, love's a journey. So we state the facts, making this eternity.